Welcome back to another Deep Dive with Derek. I'm your host, Derek. My friends call me D-Rock, here with another Tool reaction. If you want to jump right in, timestamps are in the description below. Jump right in if you like. If you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you to the channel. On this channel, I take a deep dive, and that means a couple of different things. A deep dive into music that I have not become familiar with. Music that I should have, in all intents and purposes, should have been on my radar, and I just never checked it out. And Tool fits that bill. I also take a deep dive into deep lyrics, meaningful lyrics, often, usually, through the lens of meaningful living, valued living, through life design, mindfulness, resilience, things like that. Basically, the tools we have to appreciate the upside of life and learn from and get through the dark side of life. So that's what I do here. If this is something that you like, hit subscribe, follow along. If you've been here before, welcome back. Certainly glad you could be here. Thanks for supporting me. I don't monetize these videos. I think that the attention and advertising model is largely responsible for a lot of, say, the darker aspects of society. I think it leads to divisiveness. It leads to consumerism. Basically, any indirect relationship where you're not really paying has adverse effects. So I prefer to have a one-on-one relationship with my audience. So if you want to support the channel, you don't have to, but if you want to, you might find a thanks button down below. You can buy me a beer. You can support me with micro donations. All of those links are in the description. So Tool, this is going to be my second Tool song on the channel. Like I said in the last video, I do know Sober. That's the one that I was familiar with in the mid-90s, I think, when that came out. So today we're going to check out Vicarious. Now, many of you were amazing in providing recommendations and suggestions, what to look for, things like that. So Vicarious was a recommendation. So let me know in the comments what should be my next one. A lot of you also had a brilliant suggestion. It said the videos often distract from the song, and they don't necessarily go together. You know, a lot of videos will kind of put images to the words, but this isn't necessarily that, from what I understand. So that's a good suggestion. On the other hand, though, the stronger pull is I want the full experience. So I'm going to check out the actual music videos and do my best to both react to the song itself and to the video. So Vicarious, we're going to check this out. Vicarious is usually you know, living through somebody else. Like I'm married now, so I need to live vicariously through my single friend or something like that, right? So let's jump right in. Vicarious, Tool, here we go. It's like I'm going into a haunted house or something. It's in an eye. Looks like rods and cones. So it kind of looks like an eye, and it was bumping like a bass or like a subwoofer. Is this like a little sperm creature with a human face? Come on. I think I said this with the last one too, but the rhythm section, the bass and the drum are just on point here. So I do have the lyrics pulled up because I don't want to miss anything, especially with a distracting video. Admittedly, I can't hear the lyrics that well unless I'm reading along with them. So far, this first verse though is very heavy on the negative news sells. You know, like if it bleeds, it leads, and our addiction to bad news, which has a root evolutionarily. We have something called a negativity bias, and the negativity bias says that we will spot and notice and remember the bad stuff, and the good stuff we don't even notice. That's why the news model is and always has been about bad news. And he says, I on the TV because it's tragedy that thrills me, which is exactly right. And then he goes through different headlines, you know, killed by a husband, shot his own son, drowned in the ocean. It's no fun till somebody dies. This is super interesting because we've all got this drive to the train wreck. We want to see the train wreck, right? But we never say this out loud. He is, though. He's saying it straight up. It's not fun until somebody dies. That's what I want to see. So he says, don't look at me like I'm a monster, which is kind of funny because I just, right before that, said, hey, he actually is saying what all of us do. I didn't call him a monster, but I did call him out for admitting that he does this. Don't look at me like I'm a monster, he says. Um, we will stare like zombies and junkies into this TV. Now, the images are very focused on eyeballs and looking. I did not mean to hit that, as you could probably see by my face. Look, so here we got this picture. It's very much addicted to the train wreck. You know, like staring like a zombie, staring like, what else did he say? A junkie into this TV. We can't pull our eyes away. It's interesting. You need to watch things die. My God, this is so crazy. So there's that vicariousness, though. I can't connect with that. I need to watch things die, though, he says, but from a distance. Right? So that's the TV creating distance. And but so I want to do this vicariously while the whole world dies. So the world is burning down or whatever. You all need it too. Don't lie. That's also kind of what I said. Like, we all do this, but we don't admit it. And he says, I'm admitting it. And you, so do you. Don't lie about it. I need to watch things die from a distance. And here, another eyeball metaphor. That bug landed on him and did something, bit him, or and then here comes an eyeball. Another eyeball to help watch. More eye imagery. And the line here that connects with me is, why won't we just admit it? It's because it's uncomfortable to admit. There's, we've got negativity biases as a dark part. And we, humans, it's uncomfortable to admit things that we don't necessarily like, even if it's perfectly normal. I don't want to admit that out loud. So why can't we just admit it? It's a legit question. It says you are like this too. You want to live vicariously from a distance and watch all this stuff happen, but you're not admitting it, and I'm admitting it. And here we've got more eyeball stuff. We got these worms that had the eyeballs coming out of this other person's eyeballs. I think that's the same creature that had the eyeball in the hand. So very much we're sucked into like ugly stuff, bad stuff. If it bleeds, it leads. That kind of stuff. We're just we're sucked into it. Often, and maybe this is like, it's interesting. So vicarious is, yeah, I'm sucked into it because I can experience it without actually having to experience it. That's why we often put ourselves as humans again into situations that help us feel something, but in a safe way. So we will watch horror movies, things that scare the hell out of us. Either actual scary movies or just gross movies. Think like Saw or Hostel and things like that, where not so much scary, but just like gross. But we do that. Like, we watch through. We don't want to see it, but we kind of do want to see it. This is an interesting, or this song's got me thinking about human nature and our connection with the dark side of life. But vicariously, though, I don't want to be in it. I don't want to actually be in danger, but I want to kind of experience some of that. What's happening here? That's not so easy to like dance to. That's this isn't common time. This is something fucky. I don't know what this is. I can't figure it out. So I do some drumming. I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a drummer, but I am not the drummer for, unless it's 3/4 or 4/4 time. I'm not your guy, and it shows my inability to pick up what this time signature is. Looks like E.T. sticking his little head through another eye. only pausing here because I had a question that I don't want to forget. Uh, who is the drummer? I bet you I could pick it out of a list of 10, but I can't name it off the top of my head. Name him off the top of my head. But I feel like he shows up in all the lists of top 10, top 5 drummers. And if I'm not mistaken, and I might be mistaken, but if I'm not mistaken, there was a Neil Peart, a Rush kind of tribute after Neil passed away, and I think it was the Tool drummer whose name I don't know. I feel like there's a D in it, Dana something. I don't know, kind of on the tip of my tongue, but maybe I'm thinking of Dana Carvey. I don't know, whatever it is. I feel like the Tool drummer sat in on YYZ uh, with Rush and did that song, but I don't remember his name. And actually, this could be completely made up. So I just say things, right? And if you see this, that means I left it in there. I could edit this shit out, but I don't. So this is who I am. I just blah 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 blah. So that's it. Who's the Tool drummer? That's what that whole question was. It boils down to who is this guy? There's something interesting about this, but I'm not smart enough to know right off the top of my head. But I am thinking that this fetus inside the brain, there's something growing in our mind, and it's like ideas, something. This imagery, there's something deeper here. I just haven't figured it out yet. Who does this? Who does the music videos? Okay, so here we're kind of closing the loop, landing the plane, as it were, on our fascination with, well, in this song, in the context of this song, it's death and blood and things like that. The universe is hostile. It's not personal. Devour to survive, and that's an interesting point. Life survives by consuming other life. You and I, we exist because of our atoms are, part of other creatures. And if you trace it back, this is all stardust. Everything that we exist of existed in the universe. Life survives by consuming other life, and it's not personal. We make it seem personal. When I see a coyote eat a rabbit, I might feel, oh no, poor rabbit. But I also don't want hungry coyotes walking around either, right? So life consumes other life. That's hostile. It's not personal, but we have to devour to survive, which is interesting. So now with that in us, because our genes are just generation after generation after generation of survivalists, people who have survived, we're wired for this hostility, because that's how we survive, or at least that's how our ancestors, how it used to be. We don't live in those times anymore, which is where the vicarious piece comes in, kind of, which is I'm wired to think through survival and hostility. I don't have to do that anymore, but I still want to do it vicariously. I could be making a stretch here. This is totally just riffing. Being on tragedy. Their live shows like? Is this video an indication? So now there's another eye. So it even closes with zooming out. And you got another eye. It's the eye of the hurricane, and then the eye that you can see in the universe. Tell me about their live shows. I have some feeling that there's some connection between this video and how they put on their live shows. Uh, but maybe not. I don't know. Let me know. Really cool. And if you've watched this far, you've heard my guesses about what this might be about. But it feels to me like it's this like tension between we're wired for survival, but also we live in a world that we don't have to do that. In fact, are probably punished for the laws that we have. So but I still need to keep this going. So I live vicariously by watching the bad news and tragedies on TV and things like that. And we all do it. Only they admit it. So anyway, what do you think about the song? What other songs should I check out? I'll see you next time.